This is CBC Here and Now.
Big League Hockey returns to St. John's tonight. We'll take you live to Mary Brown Center, where the Newfoundland Growlers are about to play their season opener.
A man is dead and a family broken, and the killer says his actions will haunt him forever.
Well, he wasn't afraid before. Why be afraid now? I mean, we all went through everything that he's been through, so there's no remorse.
I'll have details from Supreme Court coming up.
We're sitting here today jointly to announce that the Labrador West Regional Recreation Services statement of commitment.
After being closed for 10 months, the rec center in Wabush is one step closer to reopening. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. It's been a hard few months for those navigating the rental market in St. John's. Prices have gone up, availability has gone down, and the competition is steep. As Here and Now's Garrett Berry reports, newcomers especially are feeling the strain.
It's been a long journey, but Iomidi Elijah has finally found home. Or at least, for now, a place to rest his head, because what he really dreamed of is out of reach.
I inquired about nothing less than 20 properties, 20 houses, and some I get response, some I don't, and some when we're in talks, they just say they've given the place to someone else, or once they discover that I'm not in the province yet, they just tell me, we're sorry, we can't give it to you.
The market heated up, and Iomidi faced stiff competition this summer when looking for a place to stay.
I was looking into getting an apartment, maybe a studio flat or something, and they were asking for references. How am I supposed to get reference when I'm just new in Canada?
So for now, he's here, using this shared house to build some rental history.
I did not get any audience to even talk. The minute I say, I'm new in the province, I can't give reference, they're like, okay, well, sorry, we can't give it out to you.
But even with a reference and local support, some are having a tough time.
We never have that as a trouble or a problem. It was something really easy to solve. But now it was quite different. I arrived on August 18, and I still do not have a house.
Looking for a space that suits a young family of 3, so far, nothing permanent.
I just found a place that is Airbnb, but the point is that do not have, for example, laundry. Is a place just to stay for one weekend, not to live with a kid, and I do not have a space, for example, to study at home.
She's searching relentlessly, but so far, no return calls.
We need to fill a form, and people will contact us in case that we fit with that position, but we do not fit, we are a newcomer. I think that is a lot of reasons. I am a people of color, and it's not that. I am just a student, and I do not have a professional background from here.
This becomes an issue of...
This affordable housing advocate says renters were feeling the pressure before the pandemic, and now, with higher interest rates, fewer rental properties, and an uptick in demand, it's only gotten worse.
We see, for example, in-person classes have returned at MUN, and there's a variety of other factors that are driving changes in the rental market, but anecdotally we're hearing that things are really extremely challenging for renter households in Newfoundland and Labrador at this point, in the St. John's area especially.
And with winter coming, this uncertainty is weighing heavy on a newcomer's shoulders.
Emotionally is hard as well, because you cannot focus on your job or studies because you are all the time thinking, okay, I need to find a place to live, to start.
Garrett Berry, CBC News, St. John's.
A development tonight in the long-term care scandal at Central Health. 2 licensed practical nurses are now under investigation for privacy breaches at the Bay Verte Peninsula Health Centre. CBC has learned that 7 families of long-term care residents have been notified. Bernice Hillier is the host of CBC Radio's Newfoundland Morning, and she brings us this update.
The College of Licensed Practical Nurses says it has an investigation underway involving 2 LPNs. Wanda Wadman is Chief Executive Officer and Registrar with the college.
There have been allegations against 2 licensed practical nurses filed with the college. The allegations appear to be related to at least some of the incidents reported in the media as privacy breaches at a central health facility.
Wadman wouldn't give any details about what the LPNs are alleged to have done, nor whether they have lost their jobs.
The college is satisfied, based on the information it has received, that the LPNs in question are not providing care to residents.
Wadman says the College of Licensed Practical Nurses considers any breach of patient privacy to be very serious. The college's process will determine if the LPNs will face sanction or even lose their license to practice. Some of the incidents at Bayvert Long-Term Care are alleged to have involved inappropriate photos taken by staff. At least one incident had to do with staff talking about and laughing at a resident. Central Health has not said how many staff were involved or what their jobs were, only that staff were disciplined and at least one staff member has lost their job. Bernice Hillier, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Bruce Chalk has been reinstated as the province's chief electoral officer. He was suspended in June after a report by the citizens' representative made 10 findings of gross mismanagement. Following an independent review of that report, Chalk has been brought back. Here now's Mark Quinn explains.
In a news release late Friday afternoon, House of Assembly Speaker Derek Bennett says Bruce Chalk is now the province's chief electoral officer once again. This comes after an independent review, which the House of Assembly has had since September 15th, concludes there are insufficient grounds to prove gross mismanagement by Chalk. Green concluded the citizens' representative report should not be used as a basis for removing or suspending the chief electoral officer. But he does say that after further investigation, some of the allegations might justify removal or suspension if proved after a fair hearing. Independent MHA Paul Lane led the charge to have the citizens' representative's report made public. Today, he says he accepts Justice Green's findings and supports any call for further investigation into the allegations against Chalk. Lane continues to be concerned about the way the citizens' representative's report was handled.
It's unfortunate that it had to get to this. It's unfortunate that it wasn't handled properly right from the get-go. Unfortunate that employees would find themselves compelled to be contacting MHAs about the fact that, they had gone through due process and for whatever reason, the report wasn't seeing the light of day.
CBC was unable to reach Derek Bennett or Bruce Chalk for comment today. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Good evening and a very happy Friday to you. Let's talk about the weather that is on the way, and it's all good news, I promise. The clouds that we are experiencing in many parts of the island right now and some places in Labrador, a lot of those are going to clear off in the overnight, and that's going to leave behind a very sunny Saturday. It's going to be warm as well. Rinse and repeat for Sunday. How good is that? Taking a look at the future tracker now, you see all those clouds move on out into the overnight hours, and then as we get through the daytime, things clear even more on Saturday. But we do have some wind gusts to tell you about for this section of the province here. We'll talk all about that later in the show.
Thanks, Heather. Well, COVID rules are once again changing in the province. Today, the Chief Medical Officer of Health announced an end to the 7-day isolation recommendation. Here and now's Peter Cowan is here with more. So, Peter, if someone gets COVID now, what changes?
Right, so the amount of time that you should isolate is now going to be based on your symptoms. So whether you test positive or just have the symptoms of COVID-19, here's what Dr. Janice Fitzgerald says you should do. Well, as of Monday, you do still need to isolate, but the length is going to depend on those symptoms. So if you no longer have a fever and your symptoms are improving, then you can leave isolation. Now, it comes with some caveats. You should still wear a mask and avoid high-risk individuals for 10 days. So, for example, don't visit a long-term care or a personal care home. Now, she says this change is because with the latest variants and with most people having multiple doses of COVID vaccine, the disease is often less severe.
it's a balance, as it always is, between making sure we have the right policies in place to protect the individuals and society, as well as allowing society to get back to as normal a function as possible. And we've certainly heard that having people out of the workforce for an extended period of time has been very difficult.
Now, we also got new details about the newest vaccine. The Pfizer bivalent vaccine targets the BA4 and BA5 versions of COVID. It's the strain that is circulating currently. And starting this coming Friday, it's going to be administered along with the Moderna bivalent vaccine. Now, that one targets the original Omicron strain. And Fitzgerald says you should take whichever one the clinic has when you come and get it.
There have been no studies published to indicate one is more or less effective than the other. They're simply two different products that specifically target the Omicron variant. We do not have information on the duration of protection for the bivalent vaccines, and it will take some time for that real-world evidence to emerge.
Now, one other topic that came up at today's briefing is rapid tests. Earlier this year, Public Health faced criticism for distributing free tests only to children in schools. Everyone else had to buy them. Well, today Fitzgerald says they are working on a plan to distribute tests more widely this fall, but we'll have to wait to find out where and when. Carolyn?
Thanks so much, Peter. A Renews man who admitted to killing his stepfather is now awaiting his sentence. Brandon Noftel stabbed Robert Noftel just 2 days before Christmas in 2020. This morning, he told the courtroom that decision will haunt him for the rest of his life. Here Now's Malone Mullen has that story.
He kept a straight face for most of the morning, only breaking down when he told the court how much he loved his stepfather and wished he could turn back the clock. Brandon and Robert Noftel had lived together as father and son since Brandon was 3. But what started as a yelling match over money just before the holidays led to a knife fight in the family home. The court heard that Brandon was terrified, pulling out a pocket knife and trying to escape the room Robert had trapped him in. Robert in turn grabbed a knife of his own. Brandon stabbed his stepfather 4 times before fleeing and hiding outside. Brandon later returned, put pressure on the wounds, but couldn't save the older man. Brandon Noftel's lawyer argued today that he'd acted in fear, not meaning to kill the man who raised him. Brandon himself read a statement, his voice shaking, as he told the court he loved his dad and felt deep remorse for killing him. Robert's family, though, didn't buy it. Gathering outside Supreme Court, his sister held a photo of younger Robert doing what he loved best. Do you think that he feels truly remorseful?
I don't know. I don't think so.
What makes you think that?
Well, he wasn't afraid before. Why be afraid now? I mean, we all went through everything that he's been through. So, there's no remorse.
It hit the heart. I mean, it doesn't change, I think, any of the family's opinion that, an apology is an apology, but there's nothing he can do to change or take back what he's done. So, I mean, it just doesn't really feel, comforting.
Brandon pleaded guilty to manslaughter, a charge downgraded from second-degree murder. The Crown is asking for 7 to 8 years. Defense is looking for 4 to 6 years. With deductions and mandatory parole, a sentence on the lower end of that spectrum could see Brandon walking free before the 4th anniversary of Robert's death. With time served, Noftel could be looking at little more than a year behind bars. Justice O'Brien will hand down her decision November 18th. Malone Mullen, CBC News, St. John's.
2 towns in Labrador West got good news last night. After 10 months of being shut down, the Mike Adams Recreation Centre in Wabush is reopening. Wabush and Labrador City have committed to creating the Labrador West Regional Recreation Service, which will run the centre. The goal is to have a signed recreational agreement in place by June 1st of next year. Until then, Labrador City has agreed to pay a prorated cost of more than $18,000 a month to help run the centre's pool.
We're sitting here today jointly to announce that the Labrador West Regional Recreation Services a statement of commitment. And this is something that both towns have been working on now for quite some time.
Council is held accountable to the residents for good governance, for short and long-term strategic plans, sustainable growth and development, to ensure we maximize every opportunity and every idea. Instead of looking at negative, we look at the positive. And I see this as optimistic because we took an opportunity to make this happen. This is a positive for Labrador West, Town of Labrador City and Wabush.
Future of the Vote is all about getting young women and gender diverse folks comfortable in a political space. 40 of them took over the House of Assembly today.
I'm learning that, we have to be confident, we have the capacity to make changes, we can do it, we can inspire others to do it. There is so much to learn from and so much to give back to the community. So all in all, yeah, I would definitely say it's a super empowering experience.
We're here today in the House of Assembly. We are at Future of the Vote, where we have invited 40 women and gender diverse young delegates to take over the House of Assembly and just show them what it's like to be a day in the life of a politician. In order for people to really see themselves as being leaders, it's important that they can actually see themselves in the leaders that already exist in our community, but also to be in the spaces where decisions are being made.
I think it's super important that programs like this get women, gender diverse individuals involved. When you're talking about issues that involve women every day, you need to have women at the table. You can't have other people speaking on our behalf.
This is a very influential place. This is where decisions are made. This is where people get to bring their issues of their constituency and what steps are to be taken. So when you're watching a TV and you're like, hey, but there's no diverse folks, there's no gender diverse folks, there's no women, so you kind of feel like, well, maybe my voice doesn't matter there. But when you see someone who you feel connected to, you see representation, it's very important. Then you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel like you have the capacity to make change and to be there.
The folks that are here as delegates today, they're already leaders, they're already making huge impact. So it's important that they know that they already have that within them and that they already have everything they need to make an impact in this world.
I am a poli-sci undergrad. I'm super interested in politics, and the reason that I got into the political science arena was because I want to make a bigger change, and what better way than, to learn from the people who run the country or professors. So yeah, I definitely do want to go in that path.
I think if you look at our past and see how far we've come, you can definitely see that things are hopeful, and I am optimistic. When you look at where we were 100 years ago or even 20 years ago, you saw a lot less representation in the House specifically. And so just looking at how far we've come in such a short period of time, definitely by the time I get to a point in my life where I'd like to run politically in the next decade or so, I have strong hopes that we will be somewhere much better again.
Well, hockey season begins tonight in St. John's at the Mary Brown Centre. The Newfoundland Growlers are getting set for their home opener against division rivals, the Reading Royals. Here now, Zach Gowdy is there and joins us live. So, Zach, where do the Growlers stand as they begin their season?
Well, Carolyn, this team is in really strong shape. In a league where players typically move around quite a lot, there has been a core group with these Growlers who have been with the organization since day one and are now ready to lead this team into its 5th season. Now, that is a big advantage, especially early in the year. Today at the morning skate, we spoke with head coach Eric Wellwood, who told us that most teams in this league will take a few weeks for the player group to really gel. Not so with these Growlers. They're expecting to hit the ice at full speed tonight. Now, the team ended up last season by losing in the conference championship. Of course, they would like to better that result this season. The previous 2 seasons, they didn't play at all because of the pandemic. That makes their opening season of 2018-2019, when they won the Kelly Cup, feel like a very long time ago indeed. Now, on this season's squad, there are 6 players from Newfoundland and Labrador, including team captain James Melindy. After practice today, he spoke with us about how he spent his off season and his very cool side gig as a firefighter.
A lot of training, skating. My situation is a tad bit different because I work for the City of St. John's with the St. John's Regional Fire Department. So I work during the summers and just skate. Work out at the gym and try to get yourself in tip-top shape and getting healthy. That's the biggest thing. Throughout a season, it wears on the body, and there's some lingering injuries that take over into the summer. So it's feeling healthy again and back up to speed for camp. For the fire department, I'm super fortunate to to be able to do both right now. So many similarities between the hockey culture and the fire department. So I enjoy my time at both, and nothing better than holding the two best jobs in the world.
As the fans start to trickle in for tonight's game, we'll give you a look around the Mary Brown Center. You may have noticed this place has gotten a bit of a glow up in the off season. You're looking at brand new seating, these beautiful blue chairs. They might look a little gray with the dim light, but trust me, they are blue. And this wraparound digital projection system is back on for the first time in 4 years, so things are looking pretty sharp down here. Stadium staff tells me that this is the 32nd season opener for a pro hockey club in St. John's. There have been a few of them over the years, but looking around here tonight, starting to feel like old times. The Growlers are taking on the Reading Royals tonight. Growlers put Reading out of the playoffs last year. You can bet the Royals are feeling pretty sore down there. It should be a feisty contest out on the ice tonight. Reporting live at Mary Brown Center, I'm Zach Gowdy for Here and Now.
And believe me, there will be no contest in the weather this weekend. Look at this. Beautiful weather ahead on Saturday and even into Labrador as well. We'll break it all down after this.
Okay, so before we get to the weekend weather, some pretty balmy temperatures yesterday up north.
Yeah, that's right. We've got 4 record-breaking temperatures to tell you about from Labrador. Let's take a look. Okay, let's see. Right here in Churchill Falls, it was 11.6 degrees yesterday. On October 20th, their previous record was 10.1. That was set in 1989. Then in Happy Valley Goose Bay, it was 18.6 degrees yesterday on the 20th of October. 15.6 is their old record, so that one was absolutely demolished. Mary's Harbor, 12.7. You just edged out your old record by 0.2 of a degree, which was set in 2001. And in Nain, your new record temp for October 20th is 10.9, beating the previous record of 9.5 degrees. Now, today's highs, they weren't that warm, in the low to mid-teens here for much of the island, 13, 14 degrees, 12 up here along the northern part of the island. Cooling off a little bit, getting into those single digits there in Labrador for today's highs. Now, this is what it looks like right now, right across the province. We're seeing some clearing in Labrador. All of those showers, you can see them pushed far out to sea by now. Some scattered showers along the coast here now. But for the island, we're going to see a lot of this cloud burn off and move away in the overnight, and then clearing even more as we go into Saturday. Taking a look at tonight now. For St. John's, it's going to be cloudy here tonight. We'll have less and less cloud as the night goes on, and 9 degrees for the Avalon Peninsula here. Now into this central chunk of the island, including Bonavista, Clarenville, into Gander and Grand Falls, Windsor, it will be 4 in the overnight. However, if you're anywhere along the coast, it will feel more like 8 degrees for you guys, and for Marystown on the Burin Peninsula, it will be a low of 4 degrees tonight, feeling like 9 if you're on the coast. Again, that clearing trend, you'll see that throughout the night. But you will pick up some fog down on the south coast of the island for the Burin Peninsula, Burgeo, Ramia, Conagra, right on to the Port aux Basques area where it will be 8 degrees in the overnight, partly cloudy, but again, we'll see that clearing trend. Once we go up the northern peninsula, also 4 degrees, but feeling like 8, 9 if you are on the coast somewhere. But it's the winds that we have to talk about for the western part of the province up into the northern peninsula as well, and the straits will be gusting to 60 in this area in the evening time, in the overnight. Cartwright, cloudy tonight. We will pick up a chance of showers this evening in Nain, a low of 4 for you folks as well. Becoming more cloudy. Everywhere on the island is getting less cloudy. In Happy Valley Goose Bay tonight, you'll get more cloudy, and a chance of showers here for Labrador West, winds gusting to 60 for you folks. Now, moving on to tomorrow, you see that clearing trend again, and leaving a really nice day for our Saturday, but going into Sunday, picking up a few more clouds in the overnight. But tomorrow, looking like a lovely day. 15 degrees for the Avalon and Bonavista peninsulas. We'll see any fog sticking around clear off, a mix of sun and cloud down in Marystown. As we move a little further west now, 15 degrees in central Newfoundland, a little bit of cloud in the early morning, and then clearing off to give us that nice, beautiful sunny day. Over to the west coast, a little cooler here on the west coast, still contending with the winds, 30 to 50. All the winds in our province tonight and tomorrow will be from the southwest, getting gusty again up into the northern peninsula, 40 to 60. So beautiful day, but a bit of a windy one. We can't have it all, can we? Now into Labrador, we'll be picking up some more cloud here along the coast. In Nain, temperatures 10, 11 degrees, still warmer than average for this time of year for you folks. Cloudy in Churchill Falls as well. 12 for Happy Valley Goose Bay, and we'll pick up a chance of showers here in Labrador City. Still for this region, the winds from the southwest, 30 gusting to 50. Now, for our long-term forecast, still looking lovely going into early next week. We'll talk about it a little later on.
A career in community service that spans 5 decades is coming to an end. Coming up, we'll speak with Penny Rowe about her years working with the Community Sector Council. When Penny Rowe leaves her office at the Community Sector Council for the last time early in the new year, she'll leave behind 46 years on the job. Being CEO for the not-for-profit has kept Rowe in the media spotlight, whether it was talking about the need for more volunteers or pressuring governments for better social and economic policies. Over those years, she became known as a bridge builder, connecting organizations so they could work together on common goals. Her work on social policy has been recognized with an honorary doctorate of law from Memorial University and the Order of Canada. Before all of that, she worked right here at CBC, right in this studio, actually. Penny Rowe, thank you so much for being here.
It's such a pleasure, and thank you very much for inviting me. It's kind of fun to be back in the studio again.
Take us back to your CBC days. It was like the mid-1960s.
When I came back from university in 1965, having just graduated with a degree in speech pathology, I was being interviewed by CBC because, to my knowledge, I was the first person with an academic degree in speech pathology here in the province. And when I came out of the studio, the producer came in and said, "How would you like a job at CBC?" It was easy to get jobs in those days, right, if you happened to be in the right moment. And the first job I had was a Fun in the Sun program. Games and sports, croquet, bird watching, all the soft things. I wasn't allowed to touch anything seriously sporty. In 1966, I went in to do a live interview immediately following the news, which was then a package in the middle of the day. So I would do 10 or 15 minutes live interview, no tapes, no nothing, just as it was. And then a few years later, I was actually hired by CBC as one of the first people to set up Here and Now.
Yes, you were the first female host of Here and Now.
That's right. And it was when CBC was converting from being CBNT to CBC, and the show was moving from being a lunch hour news package to an evening news package. And I had the great pleasure of working with Bob Cole and Harry Brown. We were the three people who did Here and Now. But I'd also had a little foray into politics, not as an elected politician, but seriously behind the scenes. I'd been elected when I was extremely young to be Vice President of the Liberal Party of Canada. So I was then in a world which was, the vast majority older, well-established males. So I was also getting exposed to that kind of world where, I definitely felt out of place because I was younger, and certainly out of place because I was a woman. And when I got to the Community Sector Council, everything all just came together for me. The journalism, the appetite I had gained for public policy, the knowledge I'd gained that actually, if you actually tried to do something, sometimes you could actually change things. And so looking backwards, I have a fairly broad rear view mirror of how things have changed, and sadly how some things have remained very much the same.
What sorts of things have remained the same?
Well, when we look at issues like poverty, for example, or the need for more housing, the need for a wonderful interview this morning on the morning show about providing furniture for people who are moving into homes with no furniture. That's a very different way of dealing with poverty than the way in which poverty was being dealt with when we started at the Community Services Council, where nobody was inside governments, federal or provincial, municipal as well, had any desire to be talking about social issues. Their approach was merely giving a very small check, which was called a welfare check, occasionally. And so when I look backwards now and see how much has changed as far as how provincial governments and federal governments view some of these issues, without that combination of good people working with you and good people volunteering, it would not have been possible to have done what I've been able to achieve over the last 46 years. I just happen to be the face of the organization that, gets recognized sometimes.
And you come from a very well-known merchant family in St. John's. Your family name is Eyre, of course, before you married Bill Rowe, who's well known for his work in the media and in politics. Your work in the community sector also involves work with politicians. Can you talk about some of the challenges that you faced in that realm, considering your husband was a well-known politician. How did that all kind of mix together in the work that you did?
Well, I think there was an assumption, which always offended me personally, that the success of the Community Sector Council had something to do with who I knew and the connections that I had, for whatever reason, the connections that I had. And it was annoying to me personally, but I found it offensive for the organization, because the organization itself was so skilled at what it was doing, and that we didn't need to be using connections. Other people use them, but I didn't want to use them, so I never once wanted to be accused of even once using a personal connection for the success of the organization. So I think it made us sharper, it made us do our homework better, and when we went public with an issue, we made sure we knew exactly what we were talking about, and that the work we were doing couldn't be questioned, and that there was a really important reason why governments or foundations or other funders were putting their money into the Community Sector Council to do all of the amazing things that the organization did over the last 46 years.
You really seem like you were trying to cut your own path here.
Yes, that's quite true.
So what was your background, more of a help or a hindrance, do you think?
Oh, I think just neutral. I mean, you win some, you lose some, but for me, I just got on with it. The fact that my family business didn't take any women into the business, I didn't have any option there.
So was that why you didn't go into the family business?
I just assumed at the time they primarily thought businesses should flow to the main male members of the family.
What did you think about that?
I didn't think about it very much at all until many, many years later, when I look backwards and I thought, perhaps things should have been a bit different. But by the time I thought of it, it was far too late. My father was quite ill, and it was too late for me to confront him on it. And by that time, I was quite contented with the world I'd carved for myself, that wasn't dependent on anybody else, but only on the skill of my own skill and the skill of the people who I worked with. I think I was in a generation of women who were starting to think more seriously about having careers, and I was lucky I had the opportunity to do that. Whereas the generation before me probably were relegated to being at home and not having the opportunity to go out and carve a career. For me, moving into the community sector put me in a niche that I wasn't competing with my husband's family, I wasn't competing with my own family. I was finding a space where I could use the experiences I had benefited from and to really craft a new career for myself.
Well, it was great to talk to Penny Rowe about her career, and as for the question of what's next, after 46 years in one job, she tells me she may write a book, but she stresses that she isn't retiring so much as transitioning, so we may yet see her in another role.
Welcome back to Here and Now. I'm Zach Gowdy, and we're coming to you live from the Mary Brown Center, where hockey fans, young and old, are pouring in for the Newfoundland Growlers season opener. Now, he's got to get down to ice level for the inaugural puck drop, but we do have team owner and chair of Deacon Sports and Entertainment, Dean McDonald, joining us for a chat. Dean, welcome to. It's good to see you.
Yeah, great to be back, Zach.
This is the Growlers' 5th season, but sort of, with 2 of the previous 4 seasons having been scrubbed for the pandemic, sort of killed the momentum from that great first season when you guys took it all home. How has that stop-start development affected the Growlers as a team and an organization?
You know, as frustrating as it was, when you walk in here today and you see all the guys in the dress room, it's like a family reunion. There's a lot of familiar faces, and you know, the organization has a culture, and, you know, from the Leafs down, and so it doesn't feel like that all happened. That past is the past, you know.
Well, you know, from one crisis to another, as we start to turn the corner on the pandemic, you guys are coming back in a very difficult business environment, the economy hurting, inflation hurting everybody. I'm sure the Growlers have their own increased costs and certainly a fan market with probably less money to spend. So how is the team and the organization going to navigate those challenges?
You know, I mean, we're optimists. And so, I mean, I think we're going to have a big crowd here tonight. It feels like just the public in general has been shut in, whatever the term is. And it feels like there's energy in the community that people want to get out. So I think we're going to be a benefactor of that kind of energy.
Certainly everybody needs something to cheer for no matter what's going on. What's the vibe you're getting down here on this opening night?
I think people know we missed by that much last season. You know, Zach was injured, and so we had a bunch of injuries. I think we might have gone all the way. So this team is always going to be in the hunt. So it's like, strap yourself in, let's go.
You know, I have noticed that in the first season, a lot of people were still wearing their St. John's Ice Caps jerseys. But when you look around now, after 4 seasons coming into 5, people have the Growlers jersey, or they have a toque. And do you feel now that after the sort of stop-start nature and coming back last year, getting so close, that maybe this is the season for this team to get into a stride?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pride in this team. We're the Newfoundland Growlers, and I feel the community takes a lot of ownership in it. We're not like, you know, the Leafs or anything like it. We're the Growlers. We're a very unique group of people culturally, and it feels right. I think we're going to be highly successful this year. I'd be surprised if we're not.
You can see it in the investment here that's been made in the season, in the stadium. We were pointing out nice new seating, got the digital projection system. Like, the place looks really sharp. It looks like it's picked itself up.
Full marks to Jill Brewer and her team. We've had a wonderful summer working with them, getting this place ready. Not that we got it ready, because they did, but we really appreciate the amount of investment they've made in this building.
And just as a final question, you guys, in a league where there's usually a lot of player movement just by the nature of the ECHL, you guys have this core group that's been with you since day one. Like, how special is that, and how integral is it to developing that kind of team culture that you spoke so highly about?
The Leafs believe in it, obviously. You know, they have the Zach O'Briens back, Melindy back. There's 6 Noofs on the team. So it's important because this is a development league. So we got all these young guys coming up through. So to have that core base, you know, you got to teach the pups how to hunt.
Well, we're cheering for you. Best of luck out there in this season.
Really appreciate it. So
and, folks, this is the first of a 3-game stand down here at Mile 1. This game's tomorrow night and a matinee on Sunday. So I would love to see you come out and cheer along.
Go Growlers.
Reporting live from Mile 1. I'll be doing that for years to come. Reporting live from the Mary Brown Center. I'm Zach Gowdy for Here and Now.
Let's find out who's celebrating. Wishing Daisy and Dana Bennett in Corner Brook a very happy 50th wedding anniversary. Happy 60th anniversary to George and Kathleen Power in Labrador City. Happy anniversary to Mamie and Gilbert Oakley of Chamberlains, who are celebrating 58 years together. Congratulations to Lloyd and Georgina Fudge of Burgeo on their 59th anniversary. Happy 52nd anniversary to Linda and Tom Boland of Calvert. William and Rhoda Best from Cox's Cove are marking 50 years of marriage. Congratulations. Happy 56th anniversary to John and Donna Lehman of Gull Island. Happy 50th anniversary to Ambrosine and Fred Follett of Grand Bank. Wishing Betty Lou and Walter Bursey of Lewisport a happy 62nd anniversary. Happy 56th anniversary to Linda and Dermot Malloy of Trepassey. Best wishes to Ed and Sheila Goss as they celebrate 60 years together. Congratulations to Bernice and Cyril Penny of Gander on their 68th anniversary. Anniversary greetings going out to Richard and Jane Walsh of Harbour Breton. It's their 50th. Wishing Clem and Lillian Dwyer of Tilting a happy 50th anniversary. Happy anniversary to Nina and Jim Perry of St. John's on their 56th anniversary today. Best wishes to Maldwin and Leah Crummy of Salmon Cove. It's their 62nd anniversary today. Happy anniversary to John and Teresa Wall in St. John's, who are celebrating 68 years together. Wishing Lloyd and Jean Baker a very happy 67th anniversary. Sharon and Ralph Hoskins are celebrating their 50th anniversary today. Congratulations. Happy 54th anniversary to Dennis and Patricia Jones of Kilbride. Happy 59th anniversary to Charlie and Clara Strobridge from Mount Pearl. Congratulations to Newman and Bella Harris of Summerford, who are celebrating their 59th anniversary. Happy 58th anniversary to Alfred and Bessie Osmond of Norris Arm North. Happy anniversary to Alice and Mike Edwards. It's their 50th tomorrow. Congratulations to Reginald and Rose Robinson, who are marking 55 years of marriage. Anniversary greetings going out to Ruth and Ralph Janes of Codroy Valley. It's their 68th. Cecil and Elaine Soper of New Chelsea are celebrating their 54th anniversary. Wishing Bob and Joan Decker from Gander a happy 50th anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary as well to Gary and Doreen Moss of Bloomfield. Happy 52nd anniversary to Annie and Wallace Bussey of Foxtrap. It's 51 years of marriage for Gerald and Gertie Strobridge of Wreck Cove. Happy 58th anniversary to Joan and Roland Lachlan. Happy 66th anniversary to Jim and Marie Dix of Harbor Grace. Now to some birthdays. Happy 100th birthday to Douglas Frampton in Grand Falls, Windsor. Ralph Fudge of Lewisport celebrates his 91st birthday tomorrow. Happy 96th birthday to Dominic Corbett of Holyrood. Mary T. Lewis of Colliers is celebrating her 94th birthday. Happy 101st birthday to Mary Costigan in Harbor, Maine. Happy 94th birthday to Frank White in Mount Pearl. Birthday greetings for Glenna Ash of Corner Brook, who's turning 91. Happy 94th birthday to Eva White of Deer Lake. Happy 94th birthday also to Janie Lang in Carbonear. Happy 90th birthday to Herb Morgan of Gander. Best wishes to Mabel Ellsworth of Hughes Brook, who's celebrating her 90th birthday. Happy 96th birthday to Olive Hardy in CBS. Happy birthday to David Edwards of St. John's, who's turning 95. Happy 90th birthday to Classy Marshall of Port-aux-Basque. Happy birthday to Cinderella Button in Mount Pearl, who's turning 91. Happy 95th birthday to Dorothy Taylor French, who's from Cupids and now lives in Whitby, Ontario. Birthday greetings going out to Albert Knoll in Carbonear, who's turning 92. Happy 92nd birthday as well to Mary Pope of Port-aux-Basque. Wishing Dorothy Jenkins a very happy 90th birthday. She's in Grand Falls, Windsor. Wishing a very happy 90th birthday to Pansy Hayward of Stephenville. Happy 95th birthday to Marie Rolfe in Corner Brook. Happy 91st birthday to Doris Hines in Mount Pearl. Wishing Gilbert O'Keefe from Stephenville Crossing a happy 90th birthday. Happy birthday to Margaret Roach, who's celebrating her 95th birthday. Happy birthday to Margaret Pride in Lewisport. She just turned 90. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. So it's time for the long range forecast.
That's right.
And it sounded earlier like things are looking pretty good.
Still looking good.
Yeah.
Into early next week. Yeah.
Excellent.
Let's take a look. Okay, so Saturday evening, things clearing off for the island, a little bit of cloud cover in Labrador, but things will be moving across the island, but still making for a pretty nice day when it comes to Sunday afternoon. It looks like we're going to have our temperatures in the mid-teens, mid to upper teens for the East Coast, 15, 16, 17 degrees for St. John's, Gander, Marystown, a mix of sun and cloud for us on Sunday. So after our beautiful Saturday, we get a beautiful Sunday. And things should be a little cooler on the west coast for Port aux Basques, 13, Corner Brook, 14, still quite warm going up into St. Anthony and the Straits, in the double digits for Happy Valley, Goose Bay and Cartwright, but dropping down to the single digits for Nain and for Labrador City. And you're going to be the odd one out here in Labrador West on Sunday. Looks like you do have a chance of showers in the forecast while everybody else is getting a mix of sun and cloud. Sunday in the overnight, a few more clouds sweeping across the island and into Labrador. A few scattered showers there in the interior of Labrador, but still a decent day with a mix of sun and cloud. So what we'll see is very much like Sunday, but we'll have maybe a degree cooler here in the east, 16 in St. John's, 14 in Marystown and Gander. But on the west coast in Corner Brook and Grand Falls, Windsor area might be maybe a degree or two a little warmer. Still lovely day for everyone here with a mix of sun and cloud. Still into the double digits into Labrador, dropping off into the single digits for coastal Labrador. Taking a look now at our longer range, not a drop of rain in the forecast. Look at that, temperatures 15, 16, 17 degrees going into the middle of next week. Still quite warm overnight lows. Into central and western Newfoundland now, still looking pretty good for you, except for on Tuesday for the west coast. It looks like we have a 60% chance of showers on Tuesday. Temperatures still lovely, still dry conditions as we go into central Newfoundland with nice and warm temperatures. And there you go for Labrador. On the east coast, on the coast of Labrador, looks pretty decent, dry right up until Wednesday when you get a chance of showers in your forecast. For western Labrador, you got a bit more precipitation there. Your nice day looks like it's Monday, the day we all go back to work. But let's not think about that yet, because we're going to look at this beautiful sunrise, and that is in Torres Cove, and that comes to us from Rob Bridget.
Oh, great shot. Just beautiful. Thank you so much, Rob. And Ashley will be back with us on Monday. She'll be back from her honeymoon, but it was so nice to have you here with us this week, Heather.
And it was lovely to be here.
Yeah, did you like doing your weather? It was like the first time that you've really done that?
Yep, it was lovely to learn a new skill and come hang out with you.
Yeah, loved it. That's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Good night.